anime protagonists.
Wait, isn't this episode 2?
No.
Technically not.
No, the first one was episode 0, Matt.
Oh, gotcha.
So basically, the way our bracket works is we have what we deemed the better protagonists to be all filled in except for these 2 spots.
Well-
They're going to be filled in by the finalists of the meh protagonist bracket.
I did not. It's what you decided were the better ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me.
What-
Solo, only me.
what-
No, shut up.
No.
Wait,
Well,
Aladdin?
I don't know who decided on this, but I know,
Matt goes Aladdin.
but I know that Aladdin from Magi is great. But
Aladdin
Yeah,
from
well,
Disney's
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Okay.
try and
The reason
carry
why
it
he's in the Met protagonist
bad
is because you're the
broadcast.
only one who's watched the show. Okay. There
That's
you go.
fair.
All right. Let's start. Emma.
Uh-huh.
all right, someone who's
No,
watched
I mean,
the Promised
Someone
Neverland, go.
someone who's watched it. Go.
Good character.
Why?
He's a kid.
God.
Excellent,
Nice,
excellent.
nice, great start.
No, basically, like the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Emma. Honestly, I think she kind of just like does a lot of what Norman does.
That's a she?
Yeah,
Emma.
She.
Yeah.
Her name is Emma. Of course, it's a she.
Well, no, you could have a boy named Emma.
No.
You could.
Wait, okay, but here's the thing. How old is Emma? Because I'm not seeing any titties.
Oh,
You're not
Matt.
supposed to. She's a
She
child.
is an orphaned child that is going to be turned into a human cow.
That's
Oh, that's
crazy.
How are they gonna turn her into a human cow with a?
She's a child.
Or wait, shouldn't we say what show these characters are from? Like
The Promised
Like, add-
Neverland.
That's why somebody said somebody who watched The Promised Neverland
oh,
speak.
I thought
Yeah.
you just said somebody who watched it speak. Okay, continue.
Basically the whole thing is that they have to like get out of the orphanage before they all die and get their brains harvested. And Emma and Norman work together to come up with a plan. Plan's pretty cool, but like it's only 12. The show's only 12 episodes long, so you don't really get to see like a shit ton of character development. She's a cool character for the show, but I don't really know how great she is overall.
Okay.
All right.
Should I start talking about Kazuma now?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I love Kazuma is because
Say the show. You have to say the show.
from Konosuba. That's the full title is like some long thing in Japanese, but
No one cares about the who.
if you just look up Konosuba, you'll find it. But Konosuba as a show goes out of its way to like go against all like isekai tropes because Kazuma's not in that picture. And so like part of it is that like most isekais have these like super broken protagonists, as will be discussed later because I saw the bracket and I know who's on this. But Kazuma is not at all in any way, like, because what happens is most characters in an isekai, except for like Kirito because SAO sucks, are like hit by a truck. That's the generic, like they get hit by a truck and they get sent somewhere else. Kazuma does not get hit by a truck. Kazuma, they play it as a joke where he gets hit by a tractor and then dies of shock while pissing himself. And like I think what makes Kazuma, like I said, what makes Kazuma so great is that he just does not give a single fuck about the rules or what he's supposed to do. He's just like, whatever. And like, because it's a comedy, they don't really do development too much per se, but he's really good for what the show is as not being serious in any way. I find it really funny that we've taken this comedy and paired it up against like the horror of The Promised Neverland. But
it's kind of like both of those characters are good in terms of their own show.
yeah,
But
I
they
mean-
wouldn't really make sense outside of their own shows.
I mean the defining Kazuma gets one skill because he gets the option to like pick any one thing to bring with him, and he picks this girl who was like rude to him, so he wants her to suffer too.
Mhm.
So he's like, "You're coming with me."
Leafy in the chat
Yes.
says gender equality.
Gender equality. Yes, I see that.
Who? What?
And the only skill he gets is called steal, where he can steal one thing, but he misses with it a lot, and it doesn't usually work. The only time it ever really works is he's fighting this dude who has this really big sword, and the way he beats him is he steals the sword, but he's not strong enough to hold it, so he just like drops it on the dude's head and knocks him out. And I think Kazuma is very representative of Konosuba as a whole, in that he's
Okay.
just kind of like, I'm gonna do whatever.
Okay. Based
Not
on the
gonna
two
Okay, but
arguments,
basically,
who do you guys
basically
think
what we're
is
seeing,
the better one?
what we're saying here is that Emma rescued almost an entire orphanage, and Kazuma's a joke.
Right, but that's because Konosuba's a comedy.
That's fair.
That's true.
I mean, and there are also several situations where he has to like talk his way out of, and he like panics because he sucks because he has no combat ability like at all.
Uh-huh.
Based off the two arguments, I'm gonna say Cosmo's the better protagonist for their series.
All right, so wait,
I
should
mean,
everyone
it makes
vote
more
individually
sense,
or-
yeah. And because a lot of people with the Promised Neverland, it's kind of split. They either think it's Emma or Norman. I just said Emma because Norman is fucking dead.
All right,
I only said Emma because on the Crunchyroll thumbnail, Emma's in the middle.
do you want me
Fair
to?
enough.
Leafy in the chat says Emma is the better character based off of their own experiences with the shows.
Hey, listen, we have to appeal to fans.
Shut up, Sal.
What do you, Matt, Alex, and Christian? What do you guys think?
All right,
Kazuma.
I say Emma, just on the overall explanation that you guys gave. I say Emma.
Well, I've never seen Konosuba, but I have seen Promised Neverland, so I'm kind of biased.
Okay, so that's
What is that?
Three-
That's
I guess Emma
three-
wins because Leafy said Emma, and otherwise it's
Yeah.
3-3. So I guess
It
Emma
would be
wins.
3-3.
All right,
all right. Leafy, you are a tiebreaker. Emma moves on. Okay, I feel like Christian should give the explanation for Soul Evans and Maka Albarn.
Yes, I want to hear Christian talk about Soul Eater.
Okay, so
say the show.
Oh, Soul Eater.
They said Soul Eater, Matt.
No, I
Alright,
didn't.
I did.
Oh, I guess I just didn't hear it.
I'm gonna need some help because I'm not good with my words. But I think Soul Evans and Monka Albarn, they're a good pair and they make the show pretty great. They're good protagonists because they grow together throughout the course of the show, and like you see their struggles and how they get over it.
Yeah,
And
I because like the whole narrative centers around them working as a team. So I know there's a whole arc where like they don't work together well. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
And they
And
need
then
Okay,
to
but
after
like
that-
they grow how?
as people.
Yeah, I mean, because when it starts off, Soul is kind of like whatever. Like he has a goal, but he's not very driven in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just wants to accomplish his goal of becoming a death scythe by eating, what is it, 99 evil souls and a witch soul. Is that it?
I think
Yeah,
so.
that's it.
And then Maka is very driven in other ways, but she's not like she wants to make Soul a death scythe because of her issues with her father, who's a death scythe.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't really care as much as Soul does. And there comes a point in time, like they have these moves that they can only do when their souls resonate on like the same wavelength or whatever term they use. And there's a point in time where they don't do that, and so they can't like Soul can turn into a scythe and Maka can swing him around, but they can't do any like special stuff
Mm-hmm.
because of it. And so they have to figure out why. And I think the problem is actually with Soul's soul. Something happens to him and it like messes with his wavelength, and Maka can't figure out what it is. But eventually they sort of like work it out and they develop as characters to the point where they can do it again. And so they're not handicapped in fights anymore because they can work together again and do their like special moves.
All right.
Okay.
So Baki Hanma, the reason I like him as a protagonist is because you kind of his intentions aren't really revealed until the end of season 3. You jump into the story. This 18-year-old kid is the strongest kid in Japan doing underground fights, beating up mob bosses, MMA masters, people who own their own dojos and stuff like that. And then later in the series, you find out that he's not trying to be the strongest person on the planet and replace his father, who is the strongest creature on the planet. You find out that the only reason he wants to be stronger than his father is because he wants to avenge his mother, who his father killed. And that's a big revelation to everyone around him because everyone around him was questioning why he was able to surpass them and they weren't able to get stronger as people. And it's because I like his analogy of it, and that is that if his father was the weakest creature on the planet, he wouldn't mind being the second weakest. He just wants to be able to beat his father at his own game. It's not really a matter of selfish ideals and more of trying to avenge his mother.
That actually reminded me of something else from Soul Eater because once you said mother, I completely forgot that Maka's mother was the person who wielded her father. And I don't think the anime reveals it, but like something happened to her mother, and she and her father have a really bad relationship because of it. But I don't remember more than that.
All right. What do you guys think?
Just from the explanations, I think I would say Baki.
All right. That's 2 for Baki,
I would also say Baki.
3 for Baki.
I'm also gonna go with Baki.
Well, then Baki wins.
Baki wins.
Yeah.
I can explain Aladdin.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Shut up, Matt. Shut your mouth.
So, once
He's
Aladdin
got a magic
finds the
carpet.
genie. So once Aladdin finds the genie.
Shut up, Matt. Shut up, Matt. Let me talk about Magi. Go away. All right. So Aladdin is from Magi, and as I've said to these guys off stream, obviously, I am gonna have to talk about the manga a little bit because the anime kind of stops halfway, and so they don't really.
No, we're only going based off anime.
No,
No?
that's perfectly fine.
It's
sure?
literally
if the
impossible to do that with
the
Aladdin. I
anime
mean, it's not
doesn't-
impossible, but it's really like does Aladdin a disservice. So Magi takes place in this world that is actually the second world. So it was created because the original world was destroyed. And the person who created the world that the story takes place in was Aladdin's father, who was named Solomon, because they borrow a lot of Judeo-Christian names in Magi. And basically what happens is Aladdin is sent into this world to be a Magi, which is a special kind of sorcerer, because there are magicians, but Magi are different, where like normal magicians in Magi can only do magic based on the energy they have in their body, but Magi can take magic in from outside, and so they're a lot stronger. And normally there's only 3 Magi at any given point, but Aladdin is the 4th one because he was not born into that world, he was sent there by his father. And he has a special power called Solomon's Wisdom, which allows him to basically look through the past. And as the story goes on, he goes from this like little kid who likes eating and women to he grows as a character because he realizes that it's his job. He was sent to the main Magi universe to prevent the disaster that destroyed the original world. That's him. That's a picture of him with Solomon's Wisdom when he has the glowing thing on his forehead. And he does have a genie for a little bit named Ugo, but it doesn't grant wishes. It doesn't grant wishes.
Yes, he does.
He's
His
just
name is Robin Williams,
blue
and he grants
giant.
wishes.
It's not Matt. I despise you. I hate you so
His
so
name
much.
is Robin Williams.
But he he
His name
tries
is
to
Will
convince
Smith.
other people. He's like, we need to stop because Magi is also a very political. Like, there's combat in it, and magic and stuff, but a lot of it is very political because there are all these kings who think that they have the proper vision for the world, and there's a lot of scenes in Magi where they consider the fact that Aladdin does not belong in the world that they're in, and maybe they shouldn't listen to him because he's sort of like a trespasser, quote unquote.
Is he a
But
street rat?
no, but he's a prince actually.
Like Prince Ali?
No, that's a different character named Alibaba.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's literally Aladdin.
No, Aladdin took those names from other things. They didn't come up with that, Matt.
But it's the
Um,
same.
It's not at all.
I think it's the same.
All right, what
but
about now
Alibaba's not the protagonist. And the whole story is him trying to convince people to listen to him because he knows how to prevent this disaster that's coming. Yeah.
I mean, that actually sounds like pretty interesting. I've never seen the show, but that explanation of it sounds pretty interesting.
All right, what
He
about
can't- he-
adult you know?
Adult.
Who's seen Shield Hero?
Oh, I have.
All right, Alex.
I think
it's your
Alex
time.
is the only one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Leafy is going hard for Naofumi.
I mean,
Oh.
now Fumi's a great character.
Okay, what does he do?
Why?
Tell us why.
Man, fuck. Because he is.
Alex has now forgotten everything that he wants to say.
Aladdin is a
Oh,
more
okay.
thought out character and more in depth character than Naofumi, but Naofumi is the better protagonist because the plot needs him to move forward. But in Magi, it could be anyone in Aladdin's position, but only Naofumi can do what's been done in the anime. That is Leafy's argument for Naofumi.
I mean,
Why
I guess
is this guy not on in our stream? right
Yeah.
now? Why is he not talking about it?
I sort of see that argument, but at the same time, like you could take any person and then put them in Aladdin's position, but in the story, there's no one else in Aladdin's position. Like, there's no one else in the story who could do it because no one else knows about the prior world until he tells them. He tells them, and he's like, "This is why you need to listen to me because I know this." And he shows them the memories of the past with his magic, but like, if you put a different character in Aladdin's position, that being the emissary from the previous world, sure, but in Magi, there's no one else who could do that. Because everyone else from that world is dead. So, I don't know. I really like Aladdin a lot, and I have not seen Shield Hero. So, Alex,
Alex, if you cannot come up with an explanation for this man,
Um,
we are going to have to rely on Leafy's argument.
I mean, that's a pretty solid argument.
But Adam has just he's just taken a stab at dismantling the argument.
Listen.
I also don't, because again, I haven't seen Shield Hero. I don't understand why Naofumi is the only one who can advance the plot like that.
It's been a
Alex?
while since I've seen Shield Hero. I don't remember much.
Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
Hmm.
Alright, so I
Leafy,
think it's reversed to
Leafy
Aladdin.
says, think about it. If it was any other rational human in Naofumi's position, they would react in a different way.
I don't know what his position
Alex,
is. I don't.
this is you.
Alex, explain his position.
Okay.
You told us
so-
to put him on the
Wait, wait,
list.
Who is this guy in the chat? Do we know him, or should we? I feel like we should actually add him.
He's our moderator.
So, Alex, what
Naofumi,
is his position?
He's the Shield Hero, and like,
Oh, good.
That really narrows it down.
fuck you, Adam. It's just, it's just his personal experiences and like him as a character. That it's the way he reacts to stuff is his own way, and like Levy said, anyone else would have different reactions, and that's what I don't know.
Well,
That's
I'm looking in the chat,
yeah.
and Leafy's like, anyone else with Aladdin's knowledge could do what he did, but now Fumi can only advance the plot because of his mentality, which I still don't understand what that means. But they
But
could
it
do,
sounds convincing.
but they could do what Aladdin does. But that's not necessarily saying they would. They make Aladdin this like, I'm trying to find the right word. They could, yes, but if Naofumi has some sort of like mental issue, then then by that argument, anyone else with the same mental issue could then do what Naofumi does. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
All right, boys, cast their votes.
I'm voting for Aladdin.
I would say Aladdin.
I'm voting for Aladdin because Adam made him sound like Jesus Christ.
He basically is. He basically is. Like,
I'm voting for
Um,
Naofumi.
I'm gonna say Aladdin.
Okay, Aladdin wins.
I mean,
All right, guys. Okay, so for this next one, we don't even need to have an argument. Just put Boruto and Kirito.
But can I talk about why Kirito sucks?
Yeah, you
now
can.
we need to
Yeah,
still
you
have
can
a
talk about why Kirito
discussion
sucks.
about it.
Yeah,
Because-
Let's not even talk about Boruto yet.
yeah. Let's
until
wait.
the
Let's
next
wait.
round.
Because Kirito sucking the way he does is what makes me like Kazuma, because Kirito is so broken and uninteresting. Like,
He's
because
so broken that at one point, like 6 guys team up on him and
yeah,
start attacking him at the same time, and he regens his health faster than they can damage
yeah, he's
him.
just like, go ahead, cut me.
It's actually stupid. He's way
Um,
too OP.
And then they're like, oh yeah, here's this dual wielding thing that only you can do. For some reason, some stupid reason that I don't remember. Like, he had like the fastest reaction time or something. He's the most hardcore gamer.
He's
basically.
he's
Ah.
he's a League of
He's
Legends
the
player.
gamer king.
But then he's like you've got he's the only competent male character in that show. Like, Klein sucks. And
Yeah, but doesn't he suck too?
I mean, Klein sucks in combat.
Ah,
And then like the first season of SAO was and then
Look at this
everything else was
fucking guy.
bad.
Look at this
So-
fucking guy.
Look at his dumbass.
And he's also
face.
the generic light novel protagonist. Look at his face. Look at his boring face. Like,
Look at that guy,
Boring
and then
face.
look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at him.
It's a pretty
actually,
cute guy.
Leafy does make a really good point that Boruto actually has
man.
character traits where
yeah,
Kirito is just, I'm the protagonist, so I win.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Next
so we
is-
can all agree Boruto beats.
Yes.
Of
Yes.
course. Kirito was literally just in this to lose.
that is,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I mean,
So now, based off of our arguments, Emma versus Baki.
I'd say that the Emma Cosmo was so close. I'm still gonna vote for Baki.
I have not seen Baki, so I still am biased towards Emma.
I haven't seen
Okay.
either one, but
I would still say Emma just because I don't know. I've seen that show and I haven't seen Baki.
Baki's
that.
motivations, while potent, seem very like single-minded, and that's the case with a lot of characters. But it's like, it sounds like Baki's like Sasuke, except instead of killing his brother, he's
He's
just
going
like
to kill everyone.
he's like, I just want to be stronger than my dad.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he also has this whole arc with his where he meets this girl, and then he's like, he meets this girl, and you go through how he's having an internal struggle whether he should keep fighting or if he should just try to like date her, and then when they go on dates, his dad shows up, and it's really awkward. And you can
All I know
tell that
about-
you can tell he has other intentions besides being so focused on that he can't have a personal life.
All I know about Baki is there's an earthquake, and then his dad punches the ground, and the earthquake stops.
Yeah.
How
He
does
also
that work?
makes Donald Trump pee his pants.
But The Promised Neverland, and again, I haven't seen either one, just seems like a more psychological and character-driven show
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
there's no combat aspect to it. So it can't
That makes
they
sense.
can't just build up villains and then have them fight and then play off that. They have
Yeah.
to it's entirely psychological.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
So
sense.
I would probably also say Emma.
All right, Alex. Oh wait, Alex already
Alex said
voted.
Emma already.
Christian.
Or Emma.
I'm gonna have to agree with Adam.
Okay, Emma wins.
Leafy also says Emma
Yes.
in chat because he says he finished the manga and so he's biased.
All right, Jesus Christ versus Boruto Uzumaki.
Jesus Christ versus the son of the reincarnation of Ninja Jesus. Okay. So
I just want to say something about Boruto. I don't like the show, but I think one thing they do good with Boruto is showing that not everyone's perfect. Because
yes,
like
I
when
would
you
agree with that.
because like when he cheats on the exam, you know.
Because we haven't talked about Boruto as a character yet, but like the thing
Yeah,
the
because
thing that
he just shits on Kirito so hard.
yeah, my problem with Boruto is everything he does, including what you just said about the whole thing with not being perfect and like cheating on the exam and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he does, at least in like the first half of what exists, and I'm also talking more about the manga because the anime is mostly filler.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't talk about stuff that hasn't happened in the anime. But up to that point, everything he does is just to spite Naruto. Like everything he does up to that point is motivated by the fact that he hates his dad.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that. I think.
Well, he cheats on the exam because he's like the age of the shinobi is done and like we're moving into the future, so I
Yeah,
have this
but
scientific thing.
after that, I think it's more of his character evolves into more of.
Yes,
I'm gonna say specifically his sister starts it off. His relationship with his sister starts
Yes.
off his intention of he wants to become a strong shinobi so he could protect those he cares about,
Well,
rather than
I think
be the
even before
Hokage.
that, he wants to be a ninja like Sasuke.
Yeah.
Right? And granted, they made that scene where he's talking to fucking Salad about it super cringy. Because she's like, I want to be the Hokage. And he's like, yeah, well, I want to be like your dad. And so, like, it's a whole thing. But,
Mm-hmm.
I think, especially, and honestly, you could even just talk about the Boruto movie, because the Boruto movie captures this really well. His main period of growth is
Mhm.
during the tuning exams after they find out he's been cheating.
That's true.
Right? Because he gets
Yeah, that's
Sasuke's
true,
old
actually.
headband, and he puts on Naruto's old coat, and like that's his main period of growth. But I still like Aladdin more because Aladdin, yeah,
All
I
right,
think
guys.
Aladdin grows up.
Who are
You
we
actually
voting?
see Aladdin grow physically and mentally as the story progresses.
Who are we voting?
I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna vote for Aladdin here, including me.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
was gonna say. I mean, like,
Leafy
I
is
like
going off in
Boruto.
the chat about how much better Aladdin is than Boruto.
All right, Aladdin and Emma make it through.
Yeah, they're going to the big boy bracket.
You're going to the big boy. Oh God, we're at it's 3:30 and we just hit the big boy bracket.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna be more than an hour.
Yeah.
I think what we should do is we should do all of round one, and then we should come back next week for round.
could
We
do
don't
that.
have an episode next week.
Oh, that's right.
Why?
I'm not here.
Bruh.
Okay. So in 2 weeks we'll do.
I think if we get through round one, it should be easy to go
Yeah,
from there.
the rounds are only going to get shorter as they progress because you only
That's
really
true.
need to discuss each character once.
Okay.
Like you can add things
And
for
then
the
if it
specific
just
matchup, but
yeah, a lot of times it could also be like what happened with Kirito and Boruto. If one of them beats the other one so bad that it's not even like worth talking about.
yeah.
All right, who wants
Okay,
to
so
make
what's
the
first
argument
one?
for
My
Joseph
phone screen is
Joestar?
cracked.
Who wants
Oh,
to?
Joseph and
Joseph?
Aaron.
Yeah. Who wants to make
Joseph
the
is just-
argument?
Joseph is just so good, dude.
Joseph is great.
Joseph is a
can't-
very good protagonist.
Yeah.
I can't bring
I
myself to
honestly
vote
have-
against
Okay, but
Joseph right
like,
now.
what makes him a good protagonist?
His wittiness, the way he overcomes people with psychological warfare.
The way
The
he
whole thing is that the Pillar Men are like these insanely smart people, and he just like outsmarts their outsmarting.
Yeah. It's almost like he says that.
Yeah.
But like, not only are they insanely smart, he knows that he can't physically beat them because
So he makes up a way to beat.
so he has to figure
Okay.
it out. And Leafy says Eren is just yelling while Joseph plays with psychological warfare.
It's
Yeah,
true.
Aaron's. I haven't read past the manga. Like, I mean, the anime. Like, I don't know much about Attack on Titan after the last season, but most of the time, Aaron is just a crybaby bitch the entire time.
Do we want to go into manga stuff? Because I have an. If we do want to go into manga stuff, I have an insane argument for Aaron.
Let us. You know what? Fine. Go into the manga
Yeah,
stuff.
let's go
Are
into
you
manga
are
stuff.
you positive?
Yes. Yes, it's okay. It's for.
Wait, does anyone not
It's for
want
the
to have it
bros.
spoiled?
It's for the bros.
I don't
Me,
care.
kind of, but like it's okay. It's
Okay. Spoiler warning. Anyone watching? Spoiler warning for
Anyone
Attack on
watching?
Titan.
Yeah, just Leafy.
Well,
Yeah.
no, for YouTube, but
Oh.
basically later on you find out that Eren has this ability to mess with past memories of people that held the Attack Titan in the past. So he has the ability to like manifest to only them in person and like
Like
talk
the
to them.
Avatar state.
Kind of. Kind of.
That's
Like
that's
in
pretty
reverse
fire.
though.
And you find out that the entire plot line of Attack on Titan, Eren was in control the entire time to reach his
Really?
goals. He was
That's
controlling. He was controlling his father. He was controlling Eren Kruger, who was the one who instructed his father to go in and try to get hold of the founding Titan. He was the one who was in charge of everything.
Tristan in the chat.
Even
Wait, I can't see the chat. What happened?
He said, "Wow, I
Now
can't believe you just spoiled Attack on Titan, you asshole."
the whole time even when he's like tied up in chains and his brother is explaining how Eren has lost, Eren just simply says that he doesn't even know he can't even grasp what's going on, and then Eren breaks out of the chains and just simply he knows he has been controlling the entire scenario the whole time.
That's
But
fucking
that almost makes it sound more boring.
Here's the problem. You know what that reminds me of?
What, Joseph Joestar?
No,
Oh,
It kind of just reminds me of Kirito, honestly.
I was
because,
gonna
like,
say Black Zetsu. That reminds me
oh,
of the Black Zetsu twist where he
yeah,
pops
yeah,
up and
you're
he's like,
right.
"Hey, guess what? Everything that's happened, me."
I
Like,
don't think anyone liked that at
I don't.
all.
I can't think of a single person who liked that twist in Naruto at all.
So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the whole he's been controlling everything.
I mean, like that's a
happened.
sick like twist as far as like the story is
Is-
concerned.
Yeah, but as far as his character goes,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
just
know.
makes him boring, honestly, as a
and
character.
to be fair, if we're talking about
Traffic.
this is a particularly dark anime. So do their goals have to be in a positive light or a negative light?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
talking.
Because
I wasn't saying anything about their goals.
Aaron's true goals aren't like to benefit humanity in any way.
I was just thinking, like, I don't like the twist that it hasn't been happening organic. Like, it's cool as like a, hey, guess what? Like,
Well, no,
everything
technically
is
it
not-
has been happening organically. Because if you go back into the older scenes, you could see that whenever his father is having like a dilemma with his son, he kind of looks off into the distance and makes a very uncomfortable face, and that's because you later see that Eren, grown up, was standing there the whole time telling him what to do.
No, well, that's not organic because Eren made that happen in the future.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's like the events were not as they would normally be because Eren is controlling them from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like. I get that it's a cool reveal. I mean, sort of. I think that from the way you're describing it, it's definitely executed better than the Black Zetsu twist.
Yes, but definitely.
But it's the same basic concept, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm assuming Joseph wins.
Yes.
All right.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think we can agree Joseph wins that one.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh god, Tanjiro.
Tanjiro
So I was
Kamado.
explaining this to Christian last night. Tanjiro hits like every major checkbox for generic shonen
Yeah,
protagonist.
he's so generic.
Like,
Mm.
He's got
But
the
does he do
tragic-
it well? does he do it well?
I don't
I
think he
mean,
does it any.
There is something
any
in the
better
Demon
than
Slayer
any other
manga that I
villain.
told Christian about that is like the biggest, dumbest ass pull. Like, because at least with Eren, it's actually sort of similar to Eren in some way, but like they explain what they. I feel like in Attack on Titan they definitely explain it better
Mm-hmm.
than what happens with Tanjiro, because I was saying like whole family murdered, check. It was the main villain, check. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do you guys care if I say what the ass pull thing is?
I care because I really like Demon Slayer.
All right.
I mean,
no,
also
no
care.
spoiler warning for this one, boys. We're gonna keep this one nice.
I can say it without spoiling what I can say what it is without telling you what he learns and like without spoiling it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically, he gets like he has a dream, but it's not a dream. It's a memory from his ancestor that he has inherited through his blood, which doesn't make sense because
Oh,
So
it's
he
like
Eren.
is
Attack on
Giorno.
Titan, but worse.
Well, because what you were saying, Sebastian, is that Eren has the power to appear in the memories in the past,
Mm-hmm.
right? They don't ever establish that with Tanjiro. He just falls asleep, has this dream that happens to explain the problem that he's having in the manga at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person you see in the dream looks like him, but it's not him because it's his ancestor. And I was just like, that's dumb. That's
Leafy, I'd actually disagree with you. I don't think he does it best out of all shonen manga. I think the best generic anime protagonist is either Asta or Naruto.
I would have to agree with that, Sebastian. I feel like
But
Tanjiro
Asta is just better Naruto.
he is.
Well, let's wait. Let's wait for that argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I think I'm going with Tanjiro because I've only seen Demon Slayer like out of the choices. So
Well, let me
Well-
talk about Haikyuu.
All right,
Oh wait,
it's
we have
volleyball
Tanjiro
time.
versus sports anime.
Yeah, we do.
I told you. I brought it up to you before.
But what I like about Haikyuu is when it starts, right? Because this is with sports anime, it's very closely like you can't ignore the sport while talking about the character because they're so tied together.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like
And like when Haikyuu starts, Hinata's only thing is that he can jump really high and he runs really fast. He's short, but he has like a 4-foot vertical. Like
it's something insane like that. Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like he has like a 4-foot vertical. And so even though he's short, he can still play volleyball. But the problem is he has no idea what he's doing. He's never played it. Like his only asset is his speed and his jumping. So when the story starts, the setter on the team is this crazy prodigy who can put the ball exactly where it needs to be. So Hinata spikes with his eyes closed. He just runs, jumps, swings, and the ball is there no matter what. But eventually, he wants to start playing on his own, and he knows that he can't keep relying on the setter forever. Yeah, like look at that. The one all the way on the left. Look at that. He's like 5'3", 5'4".
Mm-hmm.
And so as the series progresses, he starts figuring out ways to play on his own without the crazy talented setter that he has. And so, Leafy is putting what I'm saying in a concise form instead of me rambling. He's saying Hinata has so much more growth as a character and grows with the setter and blocker in the anime. And you can see him pulling all the team together because he wants to be like the ace spiker, but he knows that what he's really good at is being a decoy because he's so fast that all the other teams are scared of him, and so it lets the rest of the team play better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think purely on development and as a character, because again, you can't. Who'd win in the fight, the volleyball player or the guy with the sword? But
I think the volleyball player would win.
I mean, Tanjiro couldn't catch him. Tanjiro could not catch him.
I
He
don't know.
is
Tanjiro's
so
fast.
fast.
Dude. He has
No.
water powers.
I don't think he does because they never actually establish if that's just like a visual.
That's true.
May I
Because
interject real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to say that Hinata has like some insane dedication
Yes.
because like throughout all all of like middle school he wanted a male volleyball team, and when he finally got enough players on the team to actually do it, they lost their game because they were all so shit. But he was still like dedicated to get into a good high school with a good volleyball team.
All right, I'd vote.
Like-
I'd vote Hinata.
Yeah, definitely because Tanjiro is just kind of like. I mean, I've seen Demon Slayer and I like the show.
I read the manga. I finished the manga. I mean, that's what happens when you have a show that's carried by its animation and not the writing.
So Hinata won this round.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sick.
Wait, how come I can't see the chat?
What?
What?
I
Are
can't see the
you
chat.
on Twitch?
Are you on Twitch?
Yeah.
You should be able to open the chat.
I don't know.
Okay, Nagisa or basketball Nagisa? Here we go.
Basketball
Who is the
Nagisa.
better, quiet, blue
Damn.
boy?
I mean, one of them at least looks like a boy.
Oh, he's got a.
Look at
We
that.
got a femboy on the bracket.
Nagisa's literally a femboy.
Nagisa works at Femboy Hooters.
Femboy Hooters.
Let us take a trip.
Sebastian, I would suggest that you do not like just
Yeah,
Google
I'm just,
search
I'm, no,
pictures
I'm not
of
like
Nagisa.
scrolling or anything. I'm just gonna stay. I'm staying here.
Oh, God.
So, does anybody want to talk about Nagisa?
I mean, I don't know. I can't defend Nagisa without spoiling it.
Well, at this point, like anybody who has wanted to see Assassination Classroom, you have the opportunity
I'm
to do
actually
so.
in the process of finishing it.
I
Okay.
watched the first season of it. I don't remember much, so
I
yeah.
can't say anything to influence anybody, but
I would
it sets up
definitely,
Nagisa very well.
I would definitely pick Kuroko.
Yeah, I mean, at least
Wait,
Nagisa is.
Sal,
Try to convince. Okay, I automatically am leaning towards Nagisa based off of my experiences with the anime. Give me an argument for Kuroko, and we'll see based off of that.
It's basically just like, okay, so he starts off playing basketball with like his middle school team. They're like a
And they're
bunch
all
of gods.
prodigies. They all
Yeah, they're all-
literally have basketball superpowers. Like,
Yeah. And Kuroko's basketball superpower is that he's just really great at passing, and he does a lot of misdirection.
You got some
For
Titan
whatever
steam.
reason he has so little presence that like
he has very little presence. He has very little
Yeah.
presence, and so people like literally lose sight of him.
which
and
is
so
also
he just kinda-
something that Nagisa has
Yes.
because he's a very small boy that looks like a girl.
And he kind of just pops up and like
I like Leafy's
Pass
argument
the
more
ball.
than yours.
But-
Nagisa is a great character that develops throughout the show, and from a shy kid to a person that has purpose.
yes,
I vote Femboy Nagisa.
I would also
I
vote for
also
Nagisa.
vote
But what I
Femboy
want to
Nagisa.
say
Nagisa.
before we type it out is I think once you learn Nagisa's backstory and you understand why he is the way he is, like Kuroko, they're not ever like, yeah, he's just a quiet kid.
It's mostly just because Akashi told
Sebastian,
him
stop
don't
trolling.
do anything besides pass.
Yeah, he was just told don't do anything else. And Nagisa has a reason why he is the way he is, and I think that makes it. Why do I see a link for Nagisa with kids next door fanfic.fa
Wait, where's that?
on the top left, the second one over?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't realize Nagisa was a dude until like
Now.
halfway through the season.
Really?
But definitely Nagisa.
Did you watch it in English or Japanese?
I watched it in Japanese.
Okay, that makes. I watched.
All right, so Nagisa.
Wait, what does his
definitely
English
won.
voice sound like?
He just sounds like a nasally little guy.
Okay.
Think Ash Ketchum, but more feminine.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum's voiced by a woman.
But more feminine. A
Exactly.
more feminine.
Really
woman.
not a very feminine woman.
Mom.
So
Sal,
who was
when we
the
watch-
winner of this round?
Now, when we watch
Nagisa.
Ash, we watch it in
Nagisa.
English.
Yeah, we watched it in English.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, so
Do you
Jotaro
remember-
or Natsu?
Whoa, that was an accent.
Yep, Jotaro and
Oh,
Natsu,
that's
guys.
right. That's right. Bring one of those to the table. The other guy doesn't stand a chance.
Okay, so
I don't like that palette swap picture of Jotaro and Star Platinum. I don't like that.
Ew. Oh my
tell me-
god.
tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like Jotaro is just boring. as a
He
person,
is.
as a
Jotaro is very
character.
boring.
He's a bit boring.
He's
yeah.
just like
As
quiet,
cool
angry.
as he is,
He's just cool, and
he's
that's
the
kind of it.
generic edgy character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, he's like generic shonen anti-hero type.
But think about Jotaro in part 4, though.
Yeah,
He
but
kinda-
he's not the protagonist
Yeah,
of part.
But
That's
he
true,
is though.
that's true.
Like
But he
he isn't, but he
also-
is.
No. He absolutely
He
carries
isn't,
the
but
part,
he is. But this is a
carries the
tier
story
list
in part
about
4. But
protagonists.
yeah,
Does he
he's-
grow at all in part 4?
No.
Not really. So
He
And I
just
mean-
obtains the ability to stop time.
He
And then, like,
falls in love
yeah.
with a little boy named Koichi.
He truly is a reliable guy.
Standing man, Koichi.
okay, someone make
we are reliable guys.
Natsu, I just so much of Fairy Tail is just, hey, look, we're friends, right?
my friends give me power. Look at this.
Yeah.
Which is it's still more of a story than fucking Jotaro has.
And I feel like Natsu has more. I feel like Natsu has more of an effect on the people around him than Jotaro. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, Natsu
Like-
is very much the Goku type where they're like, okay, we can leave it to him.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's
Type
Natsu
character.
with,
But Natsu does it pretty good.
Natsu does it
some
well.
Goku stuff.
Jotaro comes off that way, but like they don't ever really leave it to Jotaro. They just kind of don't help him. Like,
Yeah, they kind of
Yeah.
just throw him into the ring, and they're
Like-
like,
like
"Yeah,
he-
go
like-
go do it."
yeah, like he gets that's funny. Like he gets into a fight, and then all of the rest of the group is just kind of like, okay, but Natsu, someone else will get into a fight, and they'll be like, and they'll lose, and they'll be like, okay, we can trust Natsu to handle this.
I vote Natsu. I don't think we
Yeah.
need to go more in depth.
Natsu.
I would
Natsu.
still
Yeah.
vote
I haven't seen it, but yeah, I guess Natsu's better.
As much as I love Jotaro, I have to go.
Oh,
Natsu.
here we go,
Yeah.
boys. Edward Elric.
Oh.
Man, see,
I know nothing.
I
Yeah, I was gonna
suggested
say I know nothing.
I suggested
we
this
have to
matchup
have-
because I wanted to make sure I'd get a chance to talk about the different versions of the brother narrative, but I know Rin's gonna lose probably because I need to.
Rin's going to lose probably. The only person who's defending him is now.
I know.
you.
But what I'm saying is, I need to project an incredible argument.
Edward wins because he was Elon Musk's profile picture on Twitter.
Exactly. That's it.
But like, I think so. Edward, the Big Brother thing with Edward is driven by guilt, right?
Yo, should I get Nate in here? Because
I wouldn't say
Nate fucking loved it.
all
Well, because
guilt.
his
Should I-
his narrative
you want
with
to,
his
Matt.
like responsibilities as Al's brother is he feels responsible for what happened to him.
Yeah, but he also has the need to protect his younger brother at the same time.
Right. But I'm saying that's I mean Rin. I'm talking about what makes him different from Rin.
Oh, okay.
What
Yeah,
makes
yo,
him
wait.
different?
On the topic of brotherhood, should I get Nate up here? Because Nate fucking loved Full
if you
Metal
want
Alchemist.
to.
Full Metal Alchemist.
If you want to.
Because
Um,
he can. I'm pretty sure he has some good arguments.
Mm.
Well, I mean, Sebastian's gonna blow everything up Edward's ass anyway.
yeah.
All right. Valid.
Um, but I think at Full Metal Alchemist at the start, because it becomes other things and other elements get added to it, but at the start, it's a story about trying to get back what they lost,
Yes.
right? Blue Exorcist, the key difference there is there's no like they lose something at the very beginning of the show, the brothers, and the brothers are twins in Blue Exorcist. They're not Rin was born first, but they're twins.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they do lose someone at the very beginning of the show, but they know there's no way to get him back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more a story about like so both twins are the sons of Satan, right? They're not half brothers, they're brothers. Both twins are the sons of Satan, but for whatever reason only Rin has the blue flame, which is the mark of Satan in that show.
Mm-hmm.
The other twin, Yukio, does not have it. And so and a lot of the plot with Rin is everyone wants to kill him because they're like, you're the son of Satan, you're a demon, we gotta kill you. And he's like, no, because I'm gonna kill Satan. Like, don't kill me, I'm gonna kill Satan. And with the brother narrative, because Rin is very immature and hot-headed, and they're twins, and Yukio is very much the opposite. Rin has this drive to be seen as the older brother and to act like the older brother because he is, but Yukio doesn't let him because Yukio thinks that he knows better. And I mean, I know there are moments with Edward where he like rushes in and Al's like, "Wait, don't stop." But Rin is trying to prove himself not just to the Exorcist organization that he's a part of, but also to Yukio because he doesn't feel like he has Yukio's respect. And he wants to get that. And the whole series is both about him getting to a point where he can defeat Satan and save the world and all that, but also to the point where he feels where Yukio will treat him like he's his big brother.
Okay. I'd say Rin probably does the big brother thing better, but Edward. See, I also feel like that's Rin's only character trait or character arc.
I mean,
Edward grows as a person for his own personal guilt for not being able to bring back his mother correctly. He, like you said before, he's the reason why his brother is now a metal body, and the reason why he himself does not have an arm. In order to restore his brother's body and in order to restore his brother's soul, he sacrifices when he's only like 7 years old, mind you. He sacrifices his leg in order to save his brother's soul and attach it to the steel suit of armor. And he makes that decision at 7 years old. He then later grows to realize that it is unethical to bring back his mother because the ways of doing it are bad, and they should just let their mother rest. Which then helps him develop as a character to stop other people from making the mistake that he made, and he does that with a character named Lee, where he explains how this power, the Philosopher's Stone, is born out of such a horrible thing that is never going to be worth any sort of power or any sort of fame or anything such as that. He also saves the world while doing this.
I mean, the thing, and again, Blue Exorcist has not ended yet, really, so I can't speak to how Rin's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
But there is the brother thing is a lot of it, but I think it's also important that Rin does not have any big moment that happens when he's like 7. He's 15 when the story starts. But he has no idea about any of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ed and Al grow up with alchemy. And they know it's a thing because they have their like father's books and they can do it. I'm not diminishing the fact that he made the decision as a 7-year-old to sacrifice his leg, but they knew and they put themselves in that situation, right? Obviously, it's not their fault because they didn't know the consequences. But Rin, up until the start of the story, is just like kind of a delinquent kid who doesn't really do well in school, and he's looking for a job. And then everything happens, and he's thrust into this position where demons are calling him their prince, and like there are these demon kings who are calling him their brother, and he doesn't know what's going on. And he has this arc, which was animated in the Kyoto Saga, where he tries to, because at that point his classmates know, because he goes to like exorcist school, and at the time of the Kyoto Saga arc, his classmates know that he's the son of Satan, and so they're starting to like hold him at arm's length and be afraid of him because of that. And the Kyoto Saga is where he's like he has to come to terms with it, and he has to learn how to control his power and prove to them that he's not going to like go nuts and attack them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And so and then you also find out that Yukio, for his entire life, has been able to see demons. Because in Blue Exorcist, you can only see demons if you get something called a temp taint, which is like a wound from a demon. Yep. And Yukio got his from Rin in the womb.
Yeah.
So Yukio was born being able to see demons. And so he's had to keep that secret from Rin. So then Rin has to, and Yukio in the show is the youngest exorcist ever. And he's Rin's teacher at exorcist school. So Rin is thrust into this position where he has to like contend with this thing this life and part of him that he had no idea about, and then Yukio knew it and never told him, and like no one tells him anything. And I don't know, I just feel like it's the adaptability with which he meets all those um situations that make me like him so much. But
All right, guys, who do you think? So there's obviously
Rin.
one for one right now. What did you say, Rin, Matt?
I said Rin, yeah.
Okay.
Um, see, the thing for me that I would just pick Ed for is because the Full Metal Alchemist story is like over.
Yeah.
You can't really, in my opinion, you can't really make a decision on Rin until the story's over. You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just speaking on what he's done to this point
Right.
and the things that, which
Um,
means, if anything, Rin has like,
He has more room to grow.
yeah, he's
But
not
we can't
done.
just assume that it will go well because other
No.
shows have really
No, but I don't
tanked,
think they
as
can.
we'll
I don't
see
think they
later
can
on.
undo the development he's already. I mean, they could, but I don't know. I don't see that happening with the Blue. The Blue Exorcist manga is really good. So
Um, I don't know. I think I'd probably say Ed just because like the story's finished.
Mhm.
I haven't seen either, but Adam made a pretty good point, I think.
You did.
So I think I'm gonna go with Rin.
All right.
Alex?
Alex?
I have only seen um, Full Metal Alchemist, so
Do you want to comment?
I mean, not really. Pretty much everything has been said. I think.
Okay.
So are you going with Ed then?
I'm going with Ed.
All
So
right.
we have
Leafy
3 for Ed.
Leafy said Rin.
Leafy did say Rin.
So that means Rin wins.
That does mean Rin wins.
Wow.
That was
Okay.
unexpected.
Let's
Fucking long one.
let's
That
just
one was.
Adam
just
Adam
get this
did a
out
real
for a
good
second.
job.
Yeah, Adam did explain it a lot better than I could explain Ed. That's true.
Okay. So in our bracket that we made, Ed was the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought Ed was gonna win.
That's why
And
I was like.
he just went out first round.
That's why I was like, I need to argue so good to get Rin
Alright, what's
through
next?
this.
Giorno
Giorno.
Giorno Giovanna.
Okay, can we just say that Giorno beats Naruto?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
yeah.
Not yet. No.
Yeah, but
no,
he's so much better.
No.
How?
We can't.
Explain, Sal.
No.
Okay. Oh, let me explain. Sucks. How
Wait,
about
who's
that?
better? Giorno's better than Naruto?
Giorno and
Yeah.
Naruto.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
You
Yes,
know,
he
I
is.
don't think it's just that Giorno's better than Naruto. I think it's just Naruto is very
Generic?
stupid.
Oh.
Okay, hold on.
Stupid?
I want to hear why Sal thinks Giorno is a fantastic protagonist.
I never said Giorno's a fantastic protagonist. I said I'll explain why
You said
Naruto
Giorno's Naruto. Yeah.
Okay, well, do it.
sucks. So one of the themes that they try to push throughout Naruto, I was talking to Bastion about this earlier. One of the themes they try to push throughout Naruto is that like hard work will get you past people who are born with like crazy skills and whatever. Like in the beginning when it was like Naruto and Sasuke competing with each other. Naruto was like this guy who didn't have anything, and Sasuke was like the crazy guy who knew all the shit and whatever. But when you get like halfway through the story,
Naruto
like-
starts like getting shit like handed to him, right? Yeah.
and Naruto's his basically only power that he uses comes from the Nine Tails, which he was born with. So he himself goes against one of the story's main things.
Well, that's I
Okay.
think that's the main theme in original Naruto, but the narrative in Shippuden starts to shift more to like the concept of love versus power
Yeah, like
because
when
because Sasuke discards everything to get stronger, right? He's like,
Uh-huh.
I don't care about anything. I just want to get stronger. And Naruto does kind of what we were talking about with Boruto, funnily enough. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Boruto is Naruto again?
Who'da thought?
Naruto is more like I want to get stronger because I have these people that I need to protect. And I think
Uh-huh.
Kishimoto probably realized that he needed to move Naruto away from the hard work thing
Right.
because of the Nine Tails and how that was like everything. But at the same time, a lot of Naruto's stuff people sort of guided him towards, but he figured out on his own, right? Like
Yeah.
True.
like the only thing that he is taught by someone else is how to do like the wall walking thing. And by extension walking on water and the Rasengan. Oh, and Sage Mode because you can't figure out Sage Mode on your own.
Yeah, but the thing is here
That's quite
that
a bit of
makes me want to vote Naruto so bad is that we're only making arguments against Naruto.
That's true.
We
Jordan, I
can't.
was about to say,
How
I was
did-
gonna say,
Wait. I wanna say a good thing about Naruto. He changes the people around him he what do you say, Adam? He talk no jutsu.
Talk no
the
jutsu,
villains.
Jutsu.
Yeah, like Pain. He completely changes that dude.
Obito.
Bro.
and I think at the very end of Naruto, they showcase the love versus power thing very well, and the idea that love is stronger by having that fight be a draw.
Yeah.
And I know on surface level you're like, wait, they tied, but they really didn't because Naruto was not trying to kill Sasuke.
Yes.
That's true.
He was trying to stop him and bring him back and make him see why. Because every time they fight, Sasuke's like, "Why do you care so much? Why?" And Naruto's
my friend.
Naruto is trying to say to him, "You're my friend," which Shikamaru was Naruto's best friend. Let's be real. But I think with Giorno, I mean, Giorno doesn't like. I don't even
Like,
know what I would call the
what-
theme of Part 5. Like,
Yeah, like what character evolution or like even character development
You
does
sell
Giorno
drugs,
have?
I kill you.
Giorno. All you know about him is that he wants to be the gangstar.
I mean,
He wants to be the
Giorno
leader.
has a very literal evolution, but
Yes.
if we're talking about him as a character, it all happens before the story because you see it in flashbacks,
Yeah.
right? Where he's saved by the gangster, and then he decides that that's what he wants to do, and then it becomes about stopping them. it,
Obabao.
it starts becoming about him with like the drugs,
Yeah.
and which is
Like
which is
Giorno's a
also
really
lifted
good
from The
character for
Godfather,
Part
by the
5.
way. Like that's
I think
I like that picture of Giorno.
Sebastian, maybe you should click off that one for reasons.
Why? Oh.
Wait, Sal, you were gonna say something, I think? What were you gonna say?
I think that Giorno's a good character for Part 5 because I think he's fun. I think it's fun to follow his story, but it's not like anything crazy. Like with
My bad. Keep going.
like with Giorno, it's just like, and then if you take his story in Part 6, they just had to write him out of the story because he was so strong. It's like the same problem with Kirito.
Isn't that what happened? That's basically what happened to Fugo too. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I came to this realization when Edward lost, actually, that I think is the main proponent why Giorno's gonna lose. The thing that makes Full Metal and Part 5 so good is that the side characters are so well written.
That's true
I
too.
can agree. I can
Yeah.
agree. The side characters make Part 5.
Oh my god.
Narancia,
they're all
amazing.
so good.
Mista, amazing. Trish,
If
but
it
I
was
still like her.
just Giorno, nobody would have finished watching.
Hell,
Yeah.
I even like Abakio, okay?
I'm
And
not-
like
Who doesn't like Abakio? What? People don't like Abakio?
the people
No.
who really like Giorno hate Abakio because
Nah,
Abakio
get
hates
out of
Giorno.
here. Get out of here. Abakio is great.
Uh,
I think
I
my
think we
favorite-
could just vote at this point.
Shit out of that one guy.
Yeah. Can we just say Naruto over Giorno?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Naruto over Giorno.
Leafy said his vote is for Giorno, but
Yeah,
I-
I would also vote for Giorno.
Wait, you're changing my mind!
yes, good.
Wait, what?
He said we're changing his mind.
Leafy says we're changing his
Okay.
mind as we're continuing
Okay,
to talk
good,
about it.
good.
He
Okay,
sees the other
next.
side. Next is Asta versus
Asta, okay.
Jonathan Joestar.
Okay, so
Asta?
here's the best. No. Here we go. We're gonna solve it in 3 seconds. Ready?
Yeah,
Naruto just beat a JoJo. Asta is better Naruto, so he beats the JoJo. There you go. Done.
And also, Jonathan is just a mech character.
I
Honestly.
don't know.
Jonathan
No,
doesn't
I
get enough
actually
time.
really like Jonathan.
Yeah,
I
I
no,
feel like
really
if, I
like
feel
No,
like
I
if
feel
Jonathan
like- I
had
feel
more
like-
time to do stuff, I'd like him more. But
I feel like everyone likes Jonathan, but he didn't get enough screen time.
it's
you
like
know?
the
Yeah.
it's like the meme where the entirety of part 1 can be summed up with the words "Dio, stop." Like
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Jonathan gets no
yeah.
time to develop. He's
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
you're
more of
right.
just you see more of Dio developing than you do of Jonathan, and
Yeah.
it's kind of sucks because Jonathan has like really cool things about him that he wants to do,
although I
and
will
you just get to
say
see none of it. It's like
I will
okay,
say
Oh,
the
one
biggest
thing-
punch.
I'm just writing Asta in because
one big point of development for Jonathan, and the only real change that you see him undergo, is when you see him as a child for like what? How long is the childhood part of part 1?
Oh, it's like a half an
It's like,
episode.
yeah, half an episode.
but you definitely see that he's a crybaby. He can't, like, Dio is this like malicious kid from the slums of London, presumably, and Jonathan cannot handle the way Dio is. Granted, I don't think people should have to be able to handle the way Dio is because Dio's fucked. But
Yeah,
by the end of part 1, he's matured and he's become, Brufud so the Vrak and Prak. Like,
yeah.
he's become a person. He's a gentleman. Like,
Mhm.
He's basically the perfect human being.
yeah, which is also
Yeah, which
not
kinda
great for a
sucks.
character because
Yeah.
that does not feel
It's not relatable.
no.
all right,
Okay,
yeah,
next one.
yeah, Asta wins.
All right, Matt, this is your time to shine.
Oh
hold
yeah,
on, hold
Matt,
on.
you get to talk about Spike.
I'll go second.
All right, Shinra Kusukabe first.
I feel like I hate to say this, but I feel like Shinra in a lot of ways is just kind of like a lesser Rin.
You think so?
Because like
yeah, I can see the similarities because of the brother.
there's
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
brother,
you're
the
right.
devil, the fire. People don't like. There's the whole thing where he has the flashbacks. God, the flashbacks
Yo,
with the
sick beatbox.
house fire that everyone blames him for, and like, I don't know. I just feel like in a lot of ways he feels they're definitely not the same, but in a lot of ways he feels like a lesser Rin.
Wait, why do you think he's less? No, never mind. Don't get it.
Just because I feel like Rin develops better.
Okay. Matt, let's hear
agree.
about
time to
Spike, dude.
shine.
I feel like
Alright,
Shinra isn't that good. I think that it's another situation where the way the story's formatted and the way the characters around Shinra react and stuff like that is what makes that show good.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, the people who are advocating for him saying he's not that good, we could just move Spike up. And Matt, if you don't want to talk about him right now, you could talk about him in the next round.
Yeah, I'll wait till the next round because I got some killer arguments.
Okay.
Well,
All right, cool.
I don't know. Actually, no. I think you should argue now because now that I think about it, just because he's a lesser Rin doesn't mean he's a bad character.
Because
Alright.
he
Yeah,
is,
but
he
you
is a
said
good
you said
character.
he's not. You said he's not great. It like as a general.
Oh no. I
statement.
meant he's not like amazing. Like
Okay. Matt, explain.
So, in my opinion, like if you want to talk about character development and like what makes a character a good character, Spike Spiegel is the definition of character development because in the beginning of the series, it starts off pretty lighthearted. Like there's not too much like drama or anything like that, which a lot of people liked about the show is there's not a lot of drama. But as
1 second, excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I do need to step away for shouldn't be more than 10 minutes, but I do need to step away for a minute.
okay.
Okay.
All right. So as the show goes on, the show's in the beginning, it's Spike constantly just running away from his problems. Like his past constantly comes up to haunt him literally, and he just avoids it throughout. And it's a really short show. I think it's like 26 episodes. So for 26 episodes, the amount of character development that happens is kind of remarkable because it starts with him running away from all his problems. And at the end of the show, and you guys don't care if I get into like spoilers or anything like that, right?
Spoiler
No,
warning
no,
for
no.
Cowboy Bebop.
The Cowboy Bebop spoiler warning.
Okay, yeah, for a fucking like 25-year-old anime. So and at the end of the show, he literally goes to confront the main problems that he's been having throughout the entire series. Like it's the last maybe like 5 or 6 episodes. He kind of realizes that he needs to change as a person, and he goes to confront his problems because he doesn't want to die a sad, desolate man who never got any closure with his life. So he goes to confront his problems, which it's a long story for such a short show. And he goes to take care of what he wanted to do, and he, by the way, in my opinion, is one of the most badass characters like in anime, just because the cavalier attitude that he has, like he doesn't care, he's just super relatable. And so as he goes on to confront the main problems that he's been having throughout the series, he kind of realizes that this is something that he needs to do. And it ends with, this is like the big spoiler, it ends with him dying, but he dies after finally confronting everything that he's been avoiding for the entire show. And
So it really is just like closure.
yeah. So he literally goes, confronts the problem, takes care of whatever he needs to take care of, and then his story literally just ends.
So he dies like a happy man.
Yeah, he dies satisfied with his life, really.
Gotcha. All right, I'd say that's a good enough argument to put
So
Spike
now
ahead.
that we have an argument for Spike, and we have for Shinra, it's just like he's kind of like Rin.
I'd say.
Oh, did you just move Spike on anyway?
Yeah,
I'd say it's Spike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam, are you back? Was that mic noise? All right. Do you guys want to take a quick pee break? Now that we're halfway through the bracket.
I don't
pee
really
break,
have
pee
to go
break,
to the
pee
bathroom,
break. No, I
but
don't.
okay.
Well, I have to pee.
Well, the other thing is we're not gonna have anybody to talk about Yusuke until Adam comes back.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to skip. We're gonna have to skip Mob versus Yusuke until Adam comes back.
All right. All right. Yeah. So, quick intermission.
I'd just like to point out that Leafy also agreed with me that Spike is a better character.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I actually kind of want to watch that show, but at the same time, it's like it's so old that I don't know how I would feel about like the art style and shit.
I love the art style of that show.
Yeah?
Yeah, it just feels very classy.
Oh yeah, I'm Christian.
What?
Did you just say I'm Christian?
Yeah.
In case anyone was confused, Christian 1130 is Christian.
Hey! I wasn't in the last one, okay? So might as well just say it now, bro. Is no one talking? Oh,
how long did Adam say he was going to be gone for?
Yeah, like
Adam
10
said,
minutes, he
yeah, he said he was going to be gone for like 10 minutes. Oh my god.
Who's the next round?
Now? What time is it?
it's
Oh my god. We're not
14.
going to be done with this thing until like 5 o'clock.
5 probably, yeah.
This is a bruh moment.
No.
Shut the fuck
No,
up.
it's not.
Stop.
I'm
Shut
back.
up. Shut your
It's a
damn mouth.
Oh, Adam's back. Okay, Adam, we're on it.
Okay.
Sebastian's going to the bath.
Okay. Did I miss Naruto and
Spike
Natsu?
won?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
We
Spike
just
won.
finished Spike.
We're going to Mob versus Yusuke when
Do
we
we
get back.
want to start? Do we want to start without Sebastian or no? Because
No,
I don't
no.
I don't think Sebastian has watched Mob, right?
No, he hasn't.
And he hasn't. Wait, Yusuke Urameshi, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't watched Yu Yu Hakusho.
No, he hasn't.
I haven't seen a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho, but I've seen some of it.
I really want to watch it.
You're the only person who's seen any of it, Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Jesus.
I've seen Lanny's abridged series, and that's it.
Oh God. Okay.
So
you can do it. You made a fantastic fucking argument for Rin.
Yeah,
hey,
because
but he also watched that show. He didn't just watch a little bit of that.
Because not only did I watch the anime, I read the manga.
Yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, I only watched a little bit of Blue Exorcist.
How much of Yu Yu Hakusho have you watched?
I've seen enough of it that I can probably talk about. I can't pull another argument
Nah,
like
you
the one
got
that
it,
I
bro.
did for
You
Rin.
straight. You straight. You got it. You straight.
But I can
Nah. You straight. You
talk
straight.
about him.
You got it. You got it.
You could talk about him, but I think that like everybody's gonna agree that Mob is just like better.
I think me and Sal are gonna completely fucking go in.
We'll argue. Even Matt.
Oh,
Matt, are you there?
I'll talk about him just so it's not, just so there's
Yeah.
Wait, Matt,
discussion
Well, I
of
have
it.
you
mean,
seen
but-
we
Mob?
can-
Mob stomping the
Oh
shit
yeah,
out of
yeah,
him.
I've seen Mob Psycho.
Bro, Mob is amazing.
Yeah, I
love
don't
that
want
shit.
to.
It's
I'd
one
probably
weak
vote.
anime out there. Yeah, Mob Psycho's awesome.
Yeah, we could also just do the same thing that we did with the Kirito and Boruto thing. And just
I
be
don't
like,
want to
yeah,
do that
Mob
because
kinda
that
just
was
shits on him.
specifically the lower tier bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the main bracket, I don't want to be
It would
like,
be nice to actually talk about the character.
yeah,
to
I
have
can
an argument.
I can say something about Yusuke. Would I pick him over Mob? No,
Okay.
but I can.
So we're all in agreement.
Yo, hold on.
that Mob wins.
I got one for Yusuke. He changes his clothes.
That's true, and his hair,
Oh,
and
and Mob does neither of those things.
well, to be fair, Mob's clothes are a school uniform,
No,
and you can't really.
Nah. Sal, he changes. He changes when he goes to the body improvement.
I'm back.
club.
That's true. He goes
Oh,
from
he
his
does, he does.
school uniform to his gym uniform.
I am back. Are we ready?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are ready for Yusuke and Mob.
All right,
Mobu.
Yusuke and Mob.
Mobu,
Mobu.
like tea poison.
Okay, who would like to start?
Why
I
is there
can-
Adam
Why
like-
the Lego spike?
I can just. I can say the one thing I can say about Yusuke, and then we can start talking about Mob.
Okay.
So the big thing with Yusuke is he goes from being, or I don't know if necessarily he goes from being a certain way to the other way, or if it's just like it's who he always is, and it kind of just gets revealed. But
Uh-huh.
at the start, he's like a selfish punk kid who likes to get in fights, and his one moment of selflessness is he goes to get the soccer ball for the kid,
And then he gets hit by a truck or something.
and then he is surprised to be dead. But as it goes on, he becomes more. He goes from being this like, and he's also very like they played it off in Lanny's abridged series for jokes, Sal.
Uh-huh.
But he very much is annoyed at like how Botan and Koenma are just kind of like, okay, spirit detective, go, like,
Yeah.
But he eventually grows into it, and he assembles the team with Kuwabara and Hiei and Kurama, and by the end of it, he becomes this like protector of the human world. Yeah, there's the team.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
And so he like, and the thing with the team is a lot of shonen protagonists tend to just be like, whatever you can do, I can do too, but you can just also do it. That I only know with Kuwabara. I'm not too. My memory's a little shaky with Hiei and Kurama, but I know that like Kuwabara's thing, right, is that I actually think Kuwabara develops way more than Yusuke, but he's not the main character, so that doesn't matter. What Yu Yu Hakusho does a really good job of, which I think is just a Tagashi thing, because Hunter x Hunter does it really well too, is Yusuke is not an everyman. Like he can't theoretically accomplish any goal by himself, because all of the crew have such vastly different talents. That I think that's what makes Yusuke interesting, is that he's the main character and he has the strongest skill set, at least eventually, but it's not
still necessary to have the other characters.
but it's not universal, exactly.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Mob.
I actually have an argument for Mob.
Okay.
Please.
So it's kind of like a joke argument, but also not really, because throughout the whole show, there's that joke that he can't read social cues,
Yeah.
And in terms of character development, he does learn to read social cues to some extent. Like when Gitten gets exposed as not a real medium, and he understand, like he consoles him and like makes him feel better about it, but without saying that, like you know what I mean, like without saying that he knows that he's a fraud and everything.
I've known what my master was all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole conflict with his brother and everything, he makes that right too. Like he Yeah, so that's pretty much my argument for Mob. Just that minor part. So if you guys have stuff to say about it too, you know.
Well, I mean, I think that Mob is just like one of the most relatable characters to anyone. It's like
Yeah,
he's just a little kid, and all he wants is he just wants to fit in, and he
I-
has these crazy powers, but and so like he defeats all of his opponents pretty easily, but the fight that goes on through the whole story is a fight with himself
yeah. I
that
think
like most people can relate to.
he has these crazy powers, but he also has anxiety and mental blocks about using them,
Yeah.
and that creates the situation where he gets overwhelmed. In some way, now that I'm talking about it, I see the 100% explosion almost as a metaphor for like because or whatever kind of like mental episode because he can't bottle it up anymore.
Hmm.
You know, it's like
Well-
it's like when you have a bad day and then like something there's like some minor inconvenience that happens and you like go off because
Yeah.
all day you've been like forcing down frustration and you just can't anymore. And so obviously in Mob he's literally like exploding with psychic power.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but
But
it
at the
does
same
happen
time-
to everyday people in real life too.
Right. And I think I really have to praise the writing of Mob in that he's so he doesn't want to use them in front of others, but like he will.
Right,
Like
he
'cause he's
doesn't wanna
talking to
just,
like
show
the
off.
he's talking to like the telepathy club
Mm.
and he's like, "Oh, I'm psychic." And they're like, "No, you're not." And then he starts swinging the
The
dumbbell around and he's like, "Yes, I am." Like, you know?
Mhm.
And so I think
Um,
why is this what we're looking at, Svish?
Why is Mob in My Hero Academia?
Okay, but that looked cool as.
It did
as
look
hell.
cool.
That looked cool as hell.
All right.
They did a really good job.
Do we
adapting
even
the
need a
art style.
vote?
no, I don't really think we need
'Cause
much vote.
I don't
It's just-
I don't think we do. But I am
No.
going to
I
say
vote
for the
for
record
Yusuke.
that I would vote Yusuke Urameshi.
Okay.
Mabu.
I'm conflicted, but I'd probably give it to Mob still.
Do we need a vote?
I don't know.
We-
Mob. I'll just vote. So we have what? 1.5 for Yusuke,
1.5.
and then everybody.
No, I still voted for Mob. I'm
Okay,
just
so
conflicted about
then
it.
that's
So
Matt.
Mob, yeah.
It's just
Yeah, okay.
it's just all Mob.
Okay.
Nah, I
Mob.
vote for Yusuke too.
All right. We still lose, Alex.
Yeah, I know. I only voted for him because of Persona 5 Yusuke.
Oh my god.
All right,
But
Alex,
that's not
go.
the
I haven't
character.
watched Code Geass.
Oh.
Oh, if it's
Actually,
anything
I
like
was
his last
time-
argument, I think Light's gonna win.
I need to sit this whole one out because I haven't watched Death Note either. So
Yeah, no, I'm sitting this. All
I-
I know
I
is that
watched-
Lelouch's guy.
I watched Death Note.
Light is a
I
smart
just-
guy.
I just don't like Light whatsoever. I watched Death Note. I just don't like him.
I like
Well-
him at the
So-
beginning of the show, but towards the
what-
end, I just don't like
So
him.
what is L?
What is L?
L is a detective who's trying to
L
figure
is the
out who
antagonist.
Kira is.
Of the story.
Oh, okay.
I mean, from what I understand, there's something where like Lelouch saves the entire population of Japan.
Yeah, I know
Oh.
about that, but that's it.
I think if I remember correctly, from the I think I watched like maybe 2 episodes of Code Geass. If I remember correctly, there's also something similar to Baki with like his father. Not the same, but like there's something with like his father too, isn't there?
Alex, go.
I mean, yeah, his dad is the king of Britannia, and it's like his
And
mom.
don't they like reign over the Japanese people or something?
Yeah, Britannia took over Japan, and instead of them retaining the Japanese name, they instead decided to call them 11s to like dehumanize them. And Lelouch is Japanese and Britannian, I'm pretty sure. And like his king is the king is his dad, and his mom was assassinated. And he's like trying to figure out what happened to his mom and shit.
Okay, you're talking about the plot, but okay, wait, let's see
yeah,
what
it's like
Louis is a regular kid that hates Britannia to using his power and knowledge. I'm reading what Leafy said in the
Yeah.
chat because
Alex, I don't think you're good at this.
I'm not.
because Leafy is presenting an argument for Lelouch.
I mean, I know that thing where he liberates the people of Japan. I know that's like some like crazy feat because he like tricks the entire government using
Also,
like
if I remember correctly, and Christian, you watched Death Note, so correct me if I'm wrong. Light is just kind of like a bored prodigy.
What do you mean?
Like he's like, I mean, he's a prodigy, right? He's like really smart,
Yes.
but he's just kind of like bored, and then he
Oh,
finds
yeah,
this
yeah,
book,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoa.
You're right. Yeah.
So I feel like that's more of a descent as opposed to like progression.
Yeah, he doesn't grow as a person, I would say.
Well, it's the same issue with Aaron. He doesn't grow in a positive light. He definitely has character
Wait.
progression.
Aaron from
Attack on Titan.
from Attack on Titan.
how does he not grow in a positive light?
You'll find out
I'm
later on.
confused. Okay.
Gave him
I
the
have
you'll
no- I
understand
mean-
when you're older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Leafy's putting forth a very strong argument for Lelouch.
He's a
And
great
I have
character
not
that
heard
can
an
show how
argument for Light
hatred
yet.
can turn into good and righteousness through the evil. Yeah, but Light's character progression goes from a bored prodigy, like you said, and then he slowly. It's kind of the story of. How could I relate this to? It's how when you give someone who has no
Absolute
power
power corrupts
whatsoever.
absolutely.
If you give someone who has no power whatsoever the ability to be a god,
Yeah, it's
they're
the
obviously
concept
going to
of
have a slow descent into madness.
it's the concept of absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
But I don't know. I can't speak on this one. I don't know why I'm talking.
And the fact that he's a prodigy, has been trained his entire life and is like, I'd say the smartest man on the planet, to like be a detective and solve unsolvable mysteries. And and Light, the teenage prodigy, manages to beat him at his own game and kill him. So
But that doesn't really say anything about him as a
That's true.
character necessarily.
I mean, it
Other
shows
than
that
he's just really smart.
he's good enough at figuring out social cues, like the way L asks questions, the way he sits and stuff like that. He can figure out the different things that L does to try to figure out who Kira is throughout the entire
So
story.
you said he outsmarted his outsmarting.
Yes, he did a Joseph.
Kira is Kosaku Kawagiri, but
hold on,
what?
hold on.
no.
Sebastian.
Oh, I know what you mean now.
Sebastian.
Uh huh.
At the end of the show, I would say L outsmarts Light's outsmarting of him.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. So L
He
outsmarts Light's
outsmarts the
outsmarting, L's
the
outsmarting.
Yes.
No, but why would you say that?
Because Light gets spoiler. Death Note spoilers. Does
Death
anyone?
Note
Death Note
Does
spoilers.
anyone care? Does anyone care? Does anyone
No.
care?
No.
Really,
Okay.
4 episodes left anyway. I don't care.
Because Light ends up dying from two detectives that. How do I? Sebastian,
No.
can you help me out?
What do you
know
mean?
what I'm trying to say?
No.
What do you mean? Okay, the two other detectives.
All you said is he died from two detectives. What do you mean I can't figure it out?
The two other detectives were under L, pretty much.
Okay.
Mhm.
I
They were
think
trained at the same
L.
institute.
I think L.
L figured it out and then told them.
Not told them. He thought that if he failed, then they would succeed. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
they
Right.
did,
Yes,
and they
but
did end up succeeding.
I'm gonna put myself
so L
down right
knew
now
the
as voting for
outcome the
Lelouch.
whole time.
I'm voting
Well,
for L.
Well, L didn't know the outcome the whole time because he ended up fucking dying. But
Yeah, but
in the end,
putting faith in other people adds a form of doubt no matter what, because what if they don't do it? Simple as that. he's putting it in someone else's hands, so technically he couldn't outsmart Light if he had to put it in someone else's hands.
I mean, I
But he knew it was
suppose.
gonna happen.
Everything I've heard, I still think Lelouch is better.
Yeah, same.
It's also
I-
slowly becoming an argument for L.
Yeah, which is
That's
not what we're
true.
talking
That's
about.
true. Well, L is a major
Yeah.
part of the story. It's kind of like
But
how
he
you were
is
talking
not
about
known
Rin's
for
brother a lot. It's like
Yeah.
they affect each
Yeah.
other like insanely in their character development.
I'm voting Lelouch, even though I haven't even seen the show.
You also, well, yeah, biases always take part. So.
You also said you just don't like
Yeah.
He's just a horrible
I
character.
mean, it's a
I'm
sim-
sorry.
I
I
think
mean-
you. I think you don't. I don't think you don't like him because of his personality. You don't like him because he's supposed to be disliked.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there have been a bunch of times where people have been like,
Wait. Go.
I've only seen
go,
one
go
of
to
these
that-
two
go to that
shows,
picture
so
all
I'm
the
going to
way on
vote
the
for that
left.
one.
All the way on the left. What is that?
Why is his face so stretched?
All right, let's write in Lelouch and keep moving. Well, actually, we shouldn't write in Lelouch. We should vote, count, and
We
then
should
keep
act.
moving.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
all vote.
Lelouch.
I
How
vote
many do
L.
we have for Lelouch?
I mean, you
Who
vote
votes
L.
Lelouch?
What?
Vote Lelouch.
Okay.
What do you mean, okay? Who
What?
votes Lelouch?
Me.
Me.
This guy said
Me.
L before.
Who votes Lelouch? 2 people?
Sebastian, shut the fuck up and write in Lelouch.
I
Dude,
vote
Sal
Lelouch.
and Matt haven't voted. What do you mean? Are you stupid?
I'm
vote
waiting for
Lelouch.
everyone to talk.
I just said who
We've got
votes
3 for
Lelouch, and
Lelouch and
3
1 for
people
Light.
talked. So does that mean you vote for Light?
I say
don't
Lelouch.
know.
I didn't like that at the end.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd probably go.
there we go.
Here we go. Lelouch. Oh, Luffy and Josuke.
Monkey D.
But
Luffy.
Okay,
that-
can we
is that
just
even
can
an
we please just
argument?
put Luffy, please?
Because Adam's gonna talk about Luffy now.
I think we should at least say why we think.
Because Josuke
is
isn't even the Josuke isn't even the protagonist
No,
of his
he's
part.
not. He's
I
not.
mean, he
yeah.
is the protagonist.
No, he's not.
but
He just doesn't grow
He
whatsoever
is-
as
he-
a
yeah,
character.
great.
Nothing about him changes. He's the main character, but nothing about him changes throughout the story.
Yeah.
I can't spell monkey.
Monkey
He's
D.
still,
Luffy.
he's still just like the same like asshole guy that he was at the beginning. So
Asshole guy.
Air.
His grandpa dies though.
ah,
Wow,
die.
and then he just doesn't care.
It's the
That's it.
shortest character arc of all time. He's like. It
yeah,
lasts.
he basically just like learns how to use his stand. He's like, okay, I'm still.
It
gonna be a
lasts
dick,
from
though.
when his grandpa
Saitama?
dies to when Angelo gets put in the rock. And that's it.
Saitama versus Conic Ken.
Panic.
I spelled it wrong before.
He forgot a letter.
Oh,
I've not watched Tokyo Ghoul, so
I haven't either.
Sebastian, would you like to start off the?
You can start,
Kaneki
I'll add on.
argument? Me? Really? Nah, you start.
I have watched. One Punch
Christian,
Man.
you go first.
Well, you see, I can't really come up with anything if I'm being honest.
Who gave Saitama titties?
Kaneki is
He's wearing the
a
crown.
very
that-
inconvenient young man.
A very
He-
inconvenient young man.
Okay.
Yes, he himself is inconvenience.
I'm.
Miles Morales PS5 game. Miles Morales PS5 game.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Shut up,
so
Jack.
Kaneki's a normal little guy, right.
He's just like a kid in a
then-
coffee shop, just trying to meet a girl.
Live his life.
Trying to meet a girl. He goes out on a date with this girl. They have a really good time together. She asks him if he could walk her to her house.
Turns out
Is that
she's a
what-
ghoul and eats his face off.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
thought
that's-
I was gonna
that's-
say, is that where he was like walking through the city for like half a season?
That's just the opening.
She doesn't eat his face off. She stabs him and then. Okay, the opening, no
okay.
matter how
Um,
great that opening is, does not have anything to do with Kaneki's
Okay, so
character.
then
nor does
then she
Sebastian- nor
gets
does just
she,
summarizing the plot. Like,
she well no. This the plot. This is the first 20 minutes of the whole show.
Yeah, it's literally the first episode.
I know,
um,
but all
Okay,
you're doing is saying what happens.
Because this is important. This is where okay. Okay. She attacks him. Turns out she was just trying to like she has this weird
Yeah.
fetish where she likes to romance the men and get their hopes up before she eats them because their endorphins go crazy or some shit. And she gets killed in the process of killing him. They put her ghoul organs inside of Kaneki to turn him into this half man, half ghoul thing. And he has to deal with throughout the story is if he is a human or a ghoul. In the beginning, he's trying to reject his ghoul side and like try to stay as human as possible. And then he ends up getting tortured. He has this big like conversation with himself in his mind, and his ghoul side is personified as the girl that turned him into a ghoul. And he slowly accepts in this like little saga of his inner monologue that he is a ghoul and there's nothing he can really do about it and he just needs to accept it. So then he pulls a good old Dio and rejects his humanity. Then he goes on to not only be a ghoul but be as ghoul to the extreme as possible where he just starts joining a group that kills people senselessly, which
Okay.
he is then snapped back into the fact that he was a human at one point. He understands how humans work, and he tries to create peace between the warring sides, and that's just his character development.
So
Kaneki's
it's
a
like
little
going
bitch
both.
in the
He
beginning,
goes from both sides and tries to find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
I
it's like
hate
an
him
all
in the
internal
beginning of
struggle.
Tokyo
yeah.
Ghoul.
It's more of an internal struggle than anything.
Well, that's the same argument that is going to come up for Saitama anyway. Because if you don't talk about Saitama's internal struggle, he's just a guy who punches shit.
Yeah. I mean,
And Saitama's internal struggle isn't as deep as that is. Saitama's internal struggle is just like, he doesn't want to go insane because he can just do everything so easily.
but at the same time, his internal struggle is not supposed to be as deep as that is,
No, it's not.
because One Punch Man is not presented that way.
Right. But
I'm sorry if my argument seemed really bad. It's just the show did a very bad way of presenting why he goes back to like normal.
no, I mean, I get it.
I mean that was still a pretty good argument.
Oh,
for it, I
okay.
think.
Yeah.
As far as Saitama goes, like it's the same kind of thing that we were seeing a lot of. It's like he's a fun character and he works really good for his show. He fits really well in the universe of his show. But
Mhm.
like anywhere else, he would kind of just be boring.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And it's like the way I see it, Saitama is just Mob but worse.
Do
Yeah.
we need a vote?
I think I would okay after that argument.
Yeah, me too.
We would what?
I'd give it to Kaneki
Kaneki.
after that argument.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. That's
because it just sounds more interesting than Saitama. And
Saitama's
character-
Saitama as a protagonist. I think he's not that interesting, but the show is just made so well, and the comedy is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really well written, which is like one thing you see with like a lot of One's work is
Mhm.
that his stuff is so well written, but his characters are just kind of shallow. I
Yeah.
don't want to say shallow because like I think Mob is one of the best characters ever at everything, but like Saitama is kind of shallow.
All right.
Yeah.
So Kaneki.
Yeah, kind
Yeah, I
of.
would say.
All right.
As much as I don't like Kaneki in the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul, I would also agree.
All right. It's time for the big one.
I thought that said Guy Fieri.
What did you think, Gon said Guy
Yeah.
Fieri?
Wait, who is going again?
Deku.
Hunter
The
x
Green
Hunter.
Boys.
Oh God, just get Deku out. Get Deku out.
I don't know. I think Deku wins.
Yeah,
Deku. I've started rethinking my hatred of Deku, and I realize that that's not right. But
It's not
When
fair.
Deku stops sucking off All Might, he gets a vote.
Look at that. That's what he does 99% of the time.
Exactly.
He has
Get
to
that-
literally suck off his
get
powers.
that off the screen. Go to
What? This? You don't like
Yes.
Chad Deku?
an
No,
actual
get
picture
that
of him.
sh-
Like,
get that
stop.
shit off of you.
That's still not an actual picture.
My biggest issue with Deku is how long it takes him to realize, like,
What?
No.
is how long it takes him to Stop,
my
Sebastian.
Why does it take
Go
him
to a
3
real
seasons to
picture.
realize he should be kicking things instead of punching them?
Right, that's my
Yeah.
biggest problem.
Because he
is
doesn't know
everyone
he has
praises him-
legs.
Everyone praises him for being intelligent, and he's just not, because especially because
That's why
everyone
Bakugo's
tells
the
him
best
to
character.
stop copying All
Oh,
Might,
I don't want to look
and
at
he
that.
can't figure out for the life of him what that means.
Oh, it's still on my screen. Oh, it's still there. There we go.
And I saw something that was like talking about his fight at the sports festival with Todoroki. That was like
Tortellini.
Tortellini. That was like, show me an anime protagonist with more dedication, and I'm like, no, he's just being stupid.
Yeah.
Like, he's not.
Okay.
And also,
what does Gon make? What makes Gon good?
okay, Gon is the best iteration of the Goku character. Because he is a very like, I mean, he's not dumb. He's naive. He's very naive.
Yeah.
But he's like the naive kid who for some reason is really strong. Like he does train once they introduce Nen, but before that he's just kind of like
OP.
he like grew up in the woods and stuff, so like
I
he's
mean,
really
well,
fast and he's strong.
that was his training. Really, was him
Yeah.
growing up on Whale Island and
Yeah.
just being around all of that.
However, and what makes him better than Goku
Mhm.
and other iterations of the Goku archetype is he has just let me find someone stronger to.
You're cutting out really bad.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why.
Now
It
you're
wasn't.
fine.
It wasn't doing it before. Just repeat that sentence.
He has a goal that isn't just I want to be the best or I want to find the strongest person to fight.
Oh.
He
I
wants to
told you
find
Ash
his
should be
dad.
down here.
So he actually has like a drive.
Yes, and
Yeah.
everything he does is to find his dad. And then he even has to come to terms with that's going to be spoilers, but
I just say Gon. I think.
Here, wait,
Do
Adam,
we
I'll
need a
take- I'll
vote? I'm
take
pretty
my
sure Gon
headset
wins.
off if you want to say it.
nah, that's fine. Gon wins.
Yeah. We'll just say going with. If the spoiler needs to come up later to have him win an argument, then it'll come. to
then
that
I'll
point.
do it.
It's time. Adam, another character that
Ichigo.
you like.
Ichigo
Alright.
versus Goku.
Ichigo versus Goku.
I hate
That's
Goku.
that's the argument.
Has anyone else
Was
watched
that a-
Bleach?
Is that a naked
I
Funko
have.
Pop of
I
Goku?
watched 50 episodes.
Oh look, they have adult epilogue Ichigo. Look at him. Look at epilogue Ichigo. Well, I don't want to spoil too much because the anime is coming back.
Oh, that's on the.
With Ichigo.
That's on the screen.
But in Bleach, Ichigo is a unique existence. In a very similar way to how Goku is in Dragon Ball, except with Ichigo, they explain it, and you understand why he is this unique. That's fan art. This unique being in that world, and they make it in such a way that it makes sense. And I think that's something that not a lot of shonen do.
I have to pee. I'll be back.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a lot of shonen are just like he's special because.
Right. With Bleach, isn't there a fight with like Ichigo and Aizen though, where Ichigo like uses like all of his power and whatever, and it's supposed to leave him powerless, and then like the next arc they're just like, yeah, never mind.
No. He uses up all of so he gets given Rukia's Soul Reaper powers, right?
Uh-huh.
And to beat Aizen, the thing that he did in J Stars, where like his hair turns black, and it's the big giant chop thing.
Yeah.
That uses up all of his Soul Reaper powers, and he goes to just being a normal human again.
Right. But then
However-
doesn't he just get the Soul Reaper powers back again?
However, wait, in the next arc, they introduce these things called Fullbringers, which are people that can use their own kind of spiritual powers. And they
Mhm.
teach Ichigo how to do that. And then when that's not enough, a bunch of Soul Reapers come from the Soul Society and give Ichigo Soul Reaper powers again. He doesn't just
Right.
miraculously get them back.
But
They repeat the
It's-
process of what happened with Rukia.
okay, but it's still kind of the same thing with Guy in Naruto, where like he should have died,
Not
and like Ichigo should have just like lost the
necessarily
power.
because they were building to a point like Guy should have died because there was no reason for Guy to come back.
Right.
Right? There was no reason for Guy not to be dead. But Ichigo, they bring Ichigo back because he is this unique existence. Because, whatever, I'll say it.
I'll use my full
Because
power. Whatever.
his mother was this thing called a Quincy, right?
Okay.
Which are humans. They're not like the Fullbringers. Quincy's are different humans that can use different kinds of spiritual powers, right?
Ah.
And Ichigo's mother was attacked by a hollow, which then affected her soul. And so she was like infected with hollow powers, which is why Ichigo and his father, Ichigo's mother was a Quincy and his father was a Soul Reaper. But his soul is also part hollow, which is what makes him this crazy, unique person.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that,
Sounds OP to me.
he doesn't have an actual like Zanpakuto, which is what they call the Soul Reaper swords, until the last arc. Because the one that he was using was not like
Not actually his.
not actually his. It was Rukia's powers, and then his Quincy powers and his hollow powers like messed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until he realizes that and he learns all this stuff that he goes back and he figures out how to actually use his proper powers. What I find really interesting about Ichigo, though, is his greatest ability is not his strength, it's his growth rate. And they say that. What makes him special is not how strong he is, it's how quickly he gets stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he goes from, in a very similar way to Yusuke, actually, he goes from this, like, punk kid who, like, because at the beginning of the story, he's just a kid who can see ghosts.
Okay.
Before he gets the Soul Reaper powers the first time. And so the story opens with him beating up a bunch of street punks because they, like, knocked over some flowers that were left on a street corner because a kid died there.
Okay.
Right? And he's just like a punk. And then eventually he reaches the point where he's ready to sacrifice all of his powers, including his ability to see ghosts, to stop Aizen. And then he gets his powers back, and he's like, whatever I need to do to save the world. I mean, that's basic save the world stuff. But he also has to come to terms with his inner hollow so he can learn how to control it, which is why he can suddenly put the mask on. And so it's more learning who he is and accepting what he is
Mm-hmm.
as this unique transcendental being that makes him so interesting as a character.
So you're
Okay.
saying that he has no, well, from what I'm grasping at least, his personality isn't what makes him cool, it's his existence.
Yeah. I mean, because his personality, like,
Then in my opinion, he's a shitty protagonist.
his personality becomes kind of like the edgy shonen guy.
So he's just Jotaro.
No.
Hulk.
No, because
So
Jotaro
he's Sasuke.
because Jotaro has no change at all. And Ichigo, it's the classic like protect your friends thing, and he
Uh-huh.
comes to realize like I don't know.
I don't know what he is, but I don't like it. All right, Goku.
Having okay.
No. Let Christian talk.
Yeah, go for it.
Having seen the little bit of Bleach I have seen, I can agree with Adam. He's not just a generic, edgy, like Jotaro type character. He's a lot more in depth than that, but like, I don't know. That's it.
And he does very similar to Natsu and Goku to some extent. The like everyone's like, we trust him, we can leave this to Ichigo.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like-
love that picture of Goku.
Yeah.
All right, is it Goku time? Sal, is it your time?
I guess. So Goku starts off obviously a kid that like he doesn't even understand where he comes from. then like the main thing throughout the story of OG Dragon Ball is that like he changes the people around him, like Tien, Piccolo, and even Vegeta when it comes to Z. Um, they're all people who want to kill him initially, and because of the way he acts toward them, uh, they end up changing their minds. And like you see him mature through the story, in my opinion. When he's a kid, he just like goes around and he kills the entire Red Ribbon Army. But then in Z, when he's an adult and he's more mature, you only see him kill like 3 characters in the entirety of Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're saying with like Tien and Piccolo and then Vegeta later is it's like it's not like he does it because they can't kill him. And
well,
he's just
that's not necessarily.
or well, not with Vegeta, but like Tien and Piccolo, they fail to kill him, and I feel like it just doesn't register to him that they're trying to kill him because they want to kill him.
Uh-huh.
I feel like to Goku,
Maybe as a kid, as an adult,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
he
that's why I said
Piccolo's
at least with
intent.
Tien and Piccolo.
Mhm.
Like, and maybe Piccolo's a little different because like the whole King Piccolo thing.
Yeah, but
like,
especially with Tien, he doesn't really like get it.
yeah, he doesn't get it. All he knows is he's fighting him, and Goku likes to fight. So
Mhm.
Goku treats him like his friend, and Tien's like,
Yeah.
why? Like,
But then it ends up that he just treats everyone like that, like even Frieza.
yeah.
It's
And I
like
mean,
Krillin killed Krillin killed. Yeah, Krillin killed Frieza.
Honestly, I've already
Frieza
decided on my vote. What about you guys?
I mean, I'm just gonna vote for Goku because I don't really know about Ichigo.
I'm very interested in hearing Sal's
All
point.
right, keep going.
So the whole thing about like how Goku changes people around him, that's one thing. I don't know where I was going. I was gonna say something and I
My
just
bad.
completely forgot now.
My bad, I cut you off. It's just that this
no,
one, this argument's taking a while. This has been like a 20-minute argument. This specific one.
Shit.
I've decided
so,
on mine at least.
even in Super, he does this thing with like Hit and Jiren. It's the same thing where just like he has the ability to make friends and it improves the characters around him. Where like we said, part 5 of JoJo wouldn't have been the same thing if the other characters weren't there. Those other characters in Dragon Ball wouldn't be the same thing without Goku.
okay, but at the same time, there's a weird balance in Dragon Ball where like it's they do that, but it's also hyper focused on Goku.
Uh-huh.
So like, how do you? Because we're saying we Giorno lost because we're saying what makes part 5 were the side characters,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and you're saying that the side characters.
But Giorno, the difference between Goku and Giorno is that Giorno didn't really affect them.
Right. No, I get that, but Goku changes the people around him, but they receive so little emphasis in comparison that like, other than like the
But that's-
morality switches, you don't really like.
But that's not the thing. It's not a fact of being the storyline to the people. That's the whole thing that makes Goku different from Giorno. This example is that the story really focuses on Goku's action, not the result.
Okay.
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Which Goku vote first?
I'll go for Goku.
I'm going Goku.
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 All right.
Goku won.
All right. Guess Goku beats Ichigo.
Oh, Senku!
Senku wins. Senku wins automatically.
Senku wins. Just Senku wins.
Wait, who's he fighting? again?
Meliodas,
Meliodas.
from Seven Deadly
Oh.
Sins.
I mean,
Meliodas. If we're talking about progression, Meliodas does not progress at
Yeah,
all.
he doesn't. He's the same
Yeah.
character.
But then again,
throughout.
neither does Senku. Neither does Senku.
I also think Senku's just a better character.
But Senku has to like adapt, right? Because
That's true. But
He
he
has
already
to-
had all of the information that he needs to adapt.
Right, but he still needs to do it.
Yeah,
That's
but
true. That's
but Meliodas grows into his demon powers.
No, he doesn't. He just gets them back.
Yeah.
They're just given, like, they're sealed away, and he just
He
gets
just
them back.
Don't get me
them
wrong,
again,
Seven Deadly
yeah.
Sins is cool. It's just not. It's not as complex an anime as
No.
Doctor Stone.
And he's a
I've
simp.
never seen Doctor
And he's a
Stone,
simp.
so-
and he's a simp.
And he's a
Well,
simp.
no,
All right,
he's
yeah,
not-
yeah.
he's
Simp
kind of
lose.
not a
Simp
simp.
lose.
He's kind of not a simp. He just likes to shove his face into
See, Alex, when the
China.
series completes, you will see why he's a simp.
Yeah, he's a big simp.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Never mind.
Thank
Screw the
you.
simp.
All right, it's Aladdin versus Emma.
And we
I
already
vote Emma.
talked about both of them,
I
right?
vote
I
Emma.
would just like to. The only reason, I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased because I love Magi and I haven't seen The Promised Neverland, although I've been meaning to read it.
Mm-hmm.
You said that, like, people argue over who the protagonist of The Promised Neverland is.
Yeah, and it's very clear that in Aladdin it is Magi. In
Yeah.
in Magi it is Aladdin.
It is unequivocally Aladdin, and
I'm
it
voting
cannot be
Jesus.
anyone else.
What did
and-
Sebastian say?
I
have
vote
no idea.
Jesus. Aladdin.
Yeah, I
oh
vote
yeah,
Jesus.
voting Jesus.
All right, that's 2 Emma, 2 Aladdin from what I've heard so far.
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'd go
Damn.
Aladdin.
Magi's really good.
All right.
Okay, now we're back at the top.
Oh, are we still going? Okay.
Yeah, Joseph
We're not
Joestar versus Hinata
Wait a minute,
Shuya.
wait a minute. Do we actually want to just like stop round?
I'm ready.
Just continue this in the next episode?
I'm ready
We've
to
already
just
been
go.
going for 2 hours. I don't.
Yeah,
mean, I could
we're
always-
gonna- this.
2 hours, and we're gonna be going for at least another half hour.
I
to
mean, I
another
could
hour.
always just stop the broadcast and then start a new one to make it technically episode 2.
Well, no. What I'm
That's
saying
true.
is,
Really, next week
I
we
don't
can
want to
just
do this anymore right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but think about it. The reason I'm saying we should just keep going is because in that case we have to we have to
We have
re-argue
to rehash
everything.
all the arguments in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
true.
I wanna take some time with the new one. Like, I just took a picture of the bracket.
Yeah, can
and I
somebody
wanna-
like send me a picture of this bracket?
I want to think. You know, because I want to.
I don't just want to go off of
character.
pre-existing arguments. I want to like actually like re-sit down and do everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
that's
think
a
maybe
better idea.
save this for another time.
Okay, thank you for tuning
Okay.
into the Bro Moment podcast.
So we're done. That we're not
Make sure to tune in next time.
next.
We're
Make sure to
going-
tune in 2 weeks for the next episode of the
I'm
Bro
Christian.
Moment podcast.
I
Also,
like how we just never introduced Christian at all. during this.
also,
Yeah,
this is
we
our
never
one of
did.
our new hosts, Christian.
What's
Good.
going
Why
on?
are we now introducing him at the end?
Because you forgot to do it before.
See y'all next time.
Should
Are
I
you
end it
gonna-
now?
Are you gonna turn it off?
Are you gonna
Turn it
stop
off.
the
Sal, do it. Sal.
Click the stream.